what's up? Welcome to KindaFunny Games Daily for Monday, December 18th, 2023. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr. Joining me is the LaCroix Poppy himself, Tim Buggin Geddes.
Bless, right before we went live, we were talking about you just got a cool little record player.
Yeah.
You've been listening to your vinyls, and you're talking about how you have a Childish Gambino album, but besides that, it's all just like nerdy-ass video game shit.
Yep.
And you're about to go off on a tear.
Yes.
Which is what?
Blood and Truth, the PSVR game from like, 5 years ago or so? London studio game. That game has one of the most underrated soundtracks of all time. It is fucking incredible. I mean, you know Blood and Truth, right? You've seen this game where it's an action game that is like, it takes place in London. But like the soundtrack of it is the perfect mix of like James Bond style espionage, like cinematic score combined with UK grime, like trap beats, and like they have like UK grime rap on there, like rapping over like a cinematic score. And it's fucking incredible. And I have the vinyl for it because they sent me the vinyl. One, the actual packaging of the vinyl, fucking fantastic. It's like my favorite one where it opens up, it has like really cool art on it, but then also, yeah, you listen to it and it's like, man, this is chef's kiss. I had it on in the background all day yesterday. It was incredible.
I've been listening to a lot of video game music too, like I always am, but I've been a big fan of video game remixes pretty much my entire life. There's this band called the 8-Bit Big Band that's been popping off the last couple years that I found on YouTube. I want to say in like maybe it was 2020 actually, but they actually won, if I remember correctly, a Grammy last year for a Kirby remix, which is crazy.
I didn't know that was possible.
I know, but they did. And they just put out their 4th album last month, and I didn't know that until this weekend. And I am so happy I found it because they do like big band remixes, like very like all live orchestra, live like jazz band. Like it's, I don't even really know how to explain it. It's like just super awesome, super big sounding stuff. And they just take video game songs and they turn them into like the most epic sounding like 5-minute adventures. And this album in particular, they, not all of the songs, but they like took songs and it was like inspired by a thing, but then they added lyrics to it. So one of them is I Want to Take You for a Ride from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. But they added verses to it, and it's pretty damn sick. And there's like 3 Persona 5 songs on this one.
That's awesome.
And yeah, everyone should go check this out. 8-Bit Big Band. They're so damn cool. And I've just been jammed.
Is it the kind of stuff I can find on Spotify?
Yep,
or
it's all on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. It's like legit as hell. And man, it's really damn fun to listen to. It's a lot. It's like very high energy. But it's hype as hell, man.
That's
so anyway,
awesome.
Could not recommend it more. Check it out.
Now that I'm entering my vinyl collection era, because I actually have a record player now, so I'm not just collecting these things just to collect them. Since both you and Barrett know me, what's the vinyl that I should get? What's the vinyl that's like, oh, this is a Blessing must get record?
Well, I'm going to say this, and I don't even want to hear your response because I feel like I already remember you being on the wrong side of history on this one. Daft Punk's Random Access Memories.
God damn it. Why would you say it, Tim?
It's the right answer.
I mean, honestly, I could go back and give it a fair shake.
I don't know if that's one that you get a vinyl for, like a record for, to go back to it. I feel like that's one like you listen to it on Apple Music, and if you like it, then you go out.
That's the one that
I'm telling you, the quality of the vinyl, it's different. Shit hits different.
But like if he buys it and then he goes back and listens to it and is still like doubling down on his hatred.
There's no way.
But here's the thing.
No way.
My hatred of Daft Punk isn't even a hatred of the music. It's just, it was more so a conversation about like, you know, who cares? Who cares about these motherfuckers?
I'm telling you, Random Access Memories specifically.
That's the one with Get Lucky on it, right?
It is.
I do like that song.
That's what dude. If you there's no way Blessing doesn't like this album. I'm putting it down.
I got one for you, Bless. It's one of my favorite vinyls that I have is Flower Boy by Tyler.
Ooh, okay. See, that's a really good one. I do love Flower Boy.
Another vinyl that surprised the hell out of me is Demon Days by Gorillaz.
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. I'm gonna start this collection. I'll report back.
Let me take you to Amoeba one day, Bless. Let's go record.
Dude, I'm so down.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm all the way down. One thing I wanted to report back on though. I beat God of War, Ragnarok, Valhalla,
Awesome.
the DLC.
Awesome.
And let me tell you, this thing bangs. Like, it is fucking dope. Obviously, like we talked about a little bit last week, we talked about it on PS Love You XOXO as well, where we gave our impressions, right? But I hadn't finished it yet. Now that I finished it and I've seen the full picture, I am shocked by how good this thing is and how much I feel like they downplayed this DLC. Because you play it and you're like, oh, not only are you getting more story, right? But you're getting like a different flavor of story than what you've gotten out of the modern God of War things. It is focusing on Kratos. It is focusing on his back and forth with Mimir. And it is this Kratos goes to therapy for 8 hours straight. It's that with such a cool and satisfying conclusion and such a, for me, like a level up in terms of how I even feel about that character, which is wild to say coming off of 2018 and Ragnarok, which are both games that made me like Kratos a lot more. Having it be like this focused in, honed in story that is Kratos pretty much processing what he's been throughout the entire franchise, right? And like having these conversations with Mimir and breaking down these stories of things that you might remember from previous God of War games. It's so fucking good and so fucking cool. But then also the hot take that I put out on Twitter that like might not be a hot take just given what kind of game this is, right? But like I think the roguelike structure for God of War, the modern God of War, is the most fun version for me, where I can't get enough of actually playing it. Like I rolled credits and immediately went back for another run, not even for the story aspect, just because I was like, yo, this is so fun. I am using all these things in my toolbox that I never used in the main game because I never felt the need. I never felt like the push to use certain light runic attacks or heavy runic attacks or like certain weapons or whatever, right? Like I talked about on PSW that the spear wasn't my jam while playing through the game, so I just stuck with using the axe and using the Blades of Chaos. While playing this DLC, while having to like focus in on just like a certain a certain roster of mechanics, a certain roster of weapons, right? Going, okay, this run is going to be my spear run because the first room gave me like a spear upgrade. So I'm just going to use the spear. I'm just going to use this heavy runic attack and like level this up and then focus on like my cooldown stats or focus on my health stat or focus on like specific stats. It makes you play in very specific ways that the main game, I think, never just honed in on.
And so I haven't even touched it yet. This is going to be my my break game, and I'm so damn excited for. But that's so cool to hear because I remember one of our bigger criticisms of Ragnarok was the kind of stat system of everything having numbers attached was just overwhelming and didn't feel like it really was something that we all like dived into too deeply, and it was just kind of like there for the sake of it being a modern video game. But it's awesome that it's like, well, cool, they had the system and now they're actually playing with it in a way that like, yeah, I can already imagine how that would play out in a game like this. That would make sense.
And like really quick, I think it helps that like the armor stuff is really just for visual sakes. Like the armor sets that you get in Valhalla don't really add to
they're all just cosmetic
stats. So you're really just focusing on the stats that I think lends itself to making those feel a bit more
it's that
important.
There's like I remember in Ragnarok there was like a talisman system too that I never really liked fully, and like that's not here either. Here it is a little bit more simplified, which is great because my criticism with 2018 and Ragnarok was just like, oh man, they're giving you everything to use here, and it's just overwhelming in terms of the like all of it works great and all of it like feels great, but I feel like I am being like, okay, do I want to use the spear? Do I want to use the Blades of Chaos? Do I want to use this attack? Do I want to use this thing? Do I want like there's so many different systems and so many different mechanics to use that the balance and like the focus of it felt a little bit lost. And here they're making you focus on specific things where there's like I started using the spear in one run, and this is the run that convinced me on the spear because I was like, oh, this thing is awesome. I've just not been giving it a fair shake. Where I was using that, which already the spear is pretty good at building up enemies' stuns, so you can get the R3 hit on them. I started using it for that, but then I also kept running into chests that were giving me upgrades to, if you get this upgrade, you can stun people even faster. And then I got another one that's like, if you use like the R3 on stunned enemies, it'll give you this buff that like does this thing, right? And like using all of that in conjunction where it is, all right, I got the spear, I'm fucking stunning people, I'm fucking there was like one specific attack where like if I sprint and then use the spear, it'll like build up like half their stun, and I'm doing like an all stun run of God of War, and I'm like, this is fucking fun. Like this is making me appreciate how this game is built on a way deeper level than I think the main campaigns that have even allowed for. And so I have been blown away playing this DLC. I recommend anybody, like if you want to beat Ragnarok before you play it, right? But if you've beaten Ragnarok and have been on the fence, 1000% go play Valhalla. It is fucking incredible.
So without spoilers on this, like how many playthroughs do you need to do to like get it, the story?
That's a good question. Like I played on like the most standard difficulty, and I wasn't dying all that often. Like I maybe died for like maybe 25% of the runs, which isn't usually how roguelikes are. Like usually you're dying more. I know the dev, one of the devs replied to me on Twitter and was like, oh yeah, like you're meant to start on standard, but then hopefully bump it up over time. I didn't bump it up just because I was like, I'd already finished it at that point basically. But while on standard, I want to say with a couple of deaths built in there, maybe 9 or 10 runs, and the runs are short. Like these aren't long. Like they probably take.
How many
It's no
completions?
eternal.
How many completions do you need?
Like 5.
So,
a weird. It's really
the
structured.
first few runs you don't like. So I never like died. So whenever I had to start over a run, it was for like either a story beat or I had completed a run. I want to say there's like a couple of run throughs you do like maybe 3 or 4 times before you're allowed to do a full run, and then after that, I think you have to do.
I think it's like 3
4 full runs.
Yeah.
So what? Okay, well, how long is that entire experience?
It took me like 6 hours.
Yeah. It took me like 6 to 8
to
hours.
do all those runs.
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, the runs are
Fuck
quick.
Yes, let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Another game of the year.
Let's go. I mean, honestly.
That's on. Bless and you and I were talking about this before the show. Of like, I kind of wish there was a bit more in a run. A little bit. I wish there was like a third phase. 'Cause
Yeah.
There's like 2 kind of big phases, and then you get to like the final fight of a run. But I was hoping for a little bit more in that aspect. But yeah, it goes by in a blink, Tim.
Yeah, I agree with that. Where like after finishing it, going back, like there's some story stuff that you can like just get more story bits, more dialogue between Kratos, Mimir, and whoever, right? But I do wish that they did the same thing for just like areas and rooms. Like I wish there was more things to actually discover, or more like different stages to actually go to and have different sorts of fights, because the ones that they have, the way that they're laid out, I think they're laid out really well, and they're really cool, especially when you get to certain points where it is, all right, here's a challenge that is go through and beat all these enemies while this timer's clicking down and all this stuff is happening. I'm like, okay, that's really cool. I wish they had like just a few more versions of that you can pick through. That'd be like my one critique. Other than that, like I think they absolutely nailed this, especially for like free DLC. It's really cool.
Hell yeah.
Enough about that, Tim. Let's talk about today's stories, which include Suicide Squad spoilers are out in the wild, Baldur's Gate 3 isn't coming to Game Pass, and more, because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on twitch.tv/KindaFunnyGames and youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for Kinda Funny Games Daily. Remember, you can use Epic Creator Code Kinda Funny on all Epic Store and Epic in-game purchases like Rocket League and Fortnite to help support the channel. To be a part of the show, head to kindafunny.com/KFGD to write in with your questions, squad ups, and more. And remember, patreon.com/kindafunny will get you the show ad-free plus a bevy of bonus content. Housekeeping for you. It's a pretty simple one. This week is our last week of content of the year. Kinda Funny we'll be back in the new year with more content for you. But savor it while it lasts for this week, because you get one week left.
Let's make it a good one, Blast.
Let's make it a good week. Because I got Christmas to celebrate. I got things to do. I got New Year's to go do. So you're not gonna see me at all next week. Maybe I'll stream a game on my channel. I don't know. Like, you can't keep me from the game. You know, the game needs me, Tim.
Exactly.
Thank you to our Patreon producers, Jackson Hampton and Delaney Twining. Today we're brought to you by BetterHelp, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 6 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
Starting with our number one, we're actually going to start off with a sad news story. Max Payne actor James McCaffrey has passed away. I'm pulling directly from Remedy Games' Twitter, where they tweeted out, "We are deeply saddened to hear about the passing of our beloved friend and collaborator, James McCaffrey, the iconic voice of Max Payne and Alex Casey. His remarkable talent gave life to our characters and left an enduring impact on our community. Our hearts go out to his family." Tim, this is one that popped this morning. It was one that immediately made me sad, right? Especially because a lot of us are coming off of playing Alan Wake 2. A lot of us are coming off of, I think, what feels like a celebration for Remedy Studios, where it is you put out Alan Wake 2, but also, you know, you've developed the Remedy connected universe in a way where, you know, like the iconic status of a character like Max Payne is being celebrated in something like Alan Wake, right? And like, you know, we have the Max Payne remakes coming up that are coming from Remedy too. But I think you look at the work of James McCaffrey, you look at the legacy of Remedy, Alan Wake, and also Max Payne, and you go, damn, what a storied career. Especially Max Payne for a game that you look at as a PS2 game that had that level of performance and voice acting and character work, and what James was able to bring to the table back then.
I mean, it was
that
respected
era.
for those things then.
Yeah.
Like that kind of made it stand apart from so many other games. Like, yeah, this obviously is sad for many reasons, but I think the timing especially is like,
Yeah.
what a major bummer to end off this amazing run for everybody over there, him included.
Yeah, and of course, fuck cancer.
Yeah.
Right. Like it sucks to see that happen that way. And like it's another reminder of it reminds you of Chadwick Boseman a little bit of you don't know the silent battles that people are going through behind the scenes. Like I don't know. I'm not sure what James McCaffrey if like that was a known thing or that was an unknown thing to the public. But either way, right? Like we're all dealing with different battles. We're all dealing with different things. And you never know. And so make sure to show love to people in your life. Moving on. Story number 2. We got huge Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League story spoilers. Those have hit the internet following closed test leaks. This is Wesley Yinpool at IGN. Significant Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League story spoilers are now online following apparent leaks stemming from a recent closed alpha test. The often delayed Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is an open-world co-op action title that lets up to 4 players play as Harley Quinn, King Shark, Deadshot, and Captain Boomerang. Audio from a key story cutscene is now online, showing the fate of one important character, as well as videos and images confirming the return of characters from developer Rocksteady's Batman Arkham series of games. The article goes on to say what the spoilers are. I don't have them in the doc. I have the link if we do want to go into those story spoilers. I don't know if people care or not.
Well, no,
Like,
definitely we're not going to do that. But
I mean, we don't care. But
Yeah.
I'm sure there are viewers out there. We're still like a little under 2 months out, you know?
yeah, no, definitely not. But this sucks. Shit like this should not leak. Whether or not we're excited for the game, many people are excited for this game, and like that shouldn't even be a factor in this. Like this is the type of shit that's not fun. This doesn't enhance anybody's day. It just ruins shit. And like, don't be leaking stuff like this. Like, it's just, especially when you're like part of a closed test, whatever. It's a closed test, motherfucker. Stop opening shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're so close to this. Like, don't ruin people's enjoyment of things. Like, especially this close to the release of this game that already has enough stuff to deal with at this point. Like, I don't know. Shit like this really bothers me.
Barrett, as somebody who's a fan of the Arkhamverse, probably the biggest fan of the Arkhamverse that I know
In the world.
are you anticipating the story of Suicide Squad? Like, are you still in the place where it's like, okay, like the game might not look like my jam, but at least I'm gonna get more story out of the universe?
See, like, fuck, man. That was the train that I was on when it came to Gotham Knights. You know, like the more we saw of the gameplay of that game, I was like, oof, I don't know if they've got something here. But they told a really good story in Batman Arkham Origins. Let's see what they've got for the story in Gotham Knights. And I definitely felt burned by that. Granted, different studio. This is Rocksteady. But I feel like this is a different Rocksteady. Like the leads have left Rocksteady. This is I can only imagine if it's actually the same teams who were there when they were making Asylum City and Night. I don't know. I think performances will be good. I'm still hesitant on the writing itself. From the trailers, it felt like the actors who were cast for these roles definitely seem like they're having fun playing the part. Boomerang, Captain Boomerang, all the Harley, obviously. They seem really good at what they're doing. I just don't know if they have a script to quite back it up. Again, from what we've seen from trailers and dialogue writing and stuff. Who knows? I'm on the side of not just wanting to think about it at all whatsoever.
I mean, it being Kevin Conroy's final performance, like, I feel like that alone, does that? I mean, are you gonna see credits of this game no matter what, or is there a chance you don't?
That's a great question. Because I've thought about it of this will probably not be a game I play the day it comes out. You know, unfortunately, it is coming out the same day as Persona 3 Reload, so I feel like I'm still going to be knee deep in Persona 3. But I've not gotten that far in the thought process. I want to see Batman stuff for sure. How far that is into the game, we'll see. And if I'm still interested past that, we'll see. I don't know. It's one step at a time here to me.
It's fascinating, like listening to your perspective, Bear, because I'm trying to put myself in those shoes because I'm somebody who likes the Arkham games, but I'm not an Arkham sicko like a lot of people. But I was starting to think of the flip side of what could happen to a thing that I do care about, right? That would like be like the equivalent. And I think the equivalent would be if a couple of years from now, Insomniac announced a Sinister Six video game that took place within our Spider-Man world, but you play as the Sinister Six. And it's a bad looking, it's a bad looking games as a service type game. But like, guess what? You can play as the fucking lizard.
Why is this the second time we brought up this idea in the last week? I hate it.
Like, has somebody brought up this idea?
Andy talked about this last week.
Wait, really?
Yeah, separately.
I had no idea he talked about this. That's really funny.
He's like, you know what? Let's give Doc Ock a gun and have him shoot purple balls.
But like, I'm just saying, like, would I see that game through, right? Like, if especially if it is like you're playing as the Sinister Six, and you got to take out the Spider people. You know, you got to kill Peter Parker, you got to kill Miles Morales because they've been taken over. Let's say by the symbiote. I don't know. Actually, that would be the really equivalent to what's going on. So yeah, they've been taken over by the symbiote. You got to murder them all. Am I seeing that game through to the credits? The answer is yes. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, well, I think Avengers is probably like the closest thing to actually like a real world thing to what we're talking about here. But Avengers had a cool story, right?
It did, yeah.
And like that's kind of the highlight of that game. I am one of those people that think that Avengers had a cool story. I don't think it's the best thing ever, and I feel like a lot of people like overhype it just to like make up for the fact that the game itself isn't that great in a lot of ways.
I agree with that.
Even though it has combat that's fairly deep in some ways that people really enjoy the further you get into it all. But for me, with Insomniac, I think the difference is like the world of Spider-Man is so well developed, and like they've proven that like even the sidest of side things can like have impact, and like every character can matter. So I feel like
you don't think that Arkham City did that, or are you talking about compared to Avengers?
That's the thing though. Is like to Barrett's point, I mean I know we're talking about hypothetical here, but I imagine if in the next couple of years Insomniac makes this the game that you just pitched, I think it has a higher success rate. A chance of success because it would be, I think, a more similar team to what we have currently. And I feel like those games, just how open they are, something about it, I just feel like makes a little bit more sense than this with everything that we've seen of it. I'm just like, I'm with Barrett where I see the trailers and stuff and the writing. I'm like, this doesn't make me interested in this. Like
to actually work with something more tangible, right? Because we're working with like the super hypotheticals because I don't think Insomniac's ever going to make a Sinister Six game.
Yeah, thank God.
The leaks, the hacks from last week seem to point to Insomniac might actually be working on a Spider-Verse game, and there's a chance that Spider-Verse game could be multiplayer. For you, Tim, as somebody who I know you like
everything
Spider-Verse,
you just said breaks my heart.
I know.
I really don't want that.
But is there anything that could make you want that, right? Like, what does your dream Spider-Verse look like? If it is multiplayer,
single player.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, real talk. My answer is single player, and even then, I don't want that. Like, there's just,
you don't want a Spider-Verse video game.
No, we have too much. We have just way too much.
We already did Spider-Verse video games, and they were like
Shattered Dimensions.
They were okay.
Yeah. And I mean, whatever. We've seen Spider-Man done a million times. I have faith that whatever Insomniac does with Spider-Man, if it is some version of the team currently, and like, or people that are chosen by those people or like working with them in some way, shape, or form, I have faith that it's going to be great. I have nothing but faith in Insomniac at this point.
It's a tough one because I think to some extent it is inevitable. Like right now, PlayStation is chasing like the games as a service type stuff, right? Like that is like what like the bulk of their developers. It seems like the bulk of PlayStation developers right now have some sort of project in the works that might try to lean into that strategy. And if Insomniac makes a Spider-Verse game that hits gold with the games as a service thing, that's so much fucking money. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of success that you can get with that thing if you get it right. The question is, can you get it right?
I don't think it happens. I think that this Last of Us news is
indicative of
a bigger change. I think it's going to take some time and many news stories and many games dailies to wade through it all. I think that we're going to get a reverse to doubling down on single player PlayStation Studios games over the next couple years. And that makes your boy Tim Geddes very, very happy.
Well, let's move on to story number 3. Baldur's Gate 3 isn't going to be on Game Pass. This is what Larian says. This is from Tom Ivan at Video Games Chronicle. Larian Studios has explained why Baldur's Gate 3 might never come to Xbox Game Pass subscription service. After its release was held up by several months due to technical issues, the celebrated RPG launched for Xbox Series X/S to coincide with this month's The Game Awards, where it won 6 prizes, including the coveted Game of the Year award. Asked by IGN if Xbox had attempted to bring the title to Game Pass, Larian founder and Baldur's Gate 3 director Sven Vink said such a deal had never been on the cards, at least as far as it was concerned. Quote, "Oh, we always said from the get-go it wasn't going to be on Game Pass. It's not going to be on Game Pass," he claimed. Quote, "So look, we are in the business of making a game that has a beginning, middle, and end. We made a big game, so I think there's a fair price to be paid for that, and I think that is okay," Vink added. "We don't charge you any microtransactions on top of it, so you get what you pay for. Up front, it's a big meaty game, so I think that should be able to exist as is, or as it is. This is what allows us to continue making other games." End quote. It's fair.
I mean,
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, it's totally fair, and I think that there are other worlds where this is not the case, but we're in the world that Baldur's Gate 3 is a game of the year. Like, debatably, the game of the year. Like, when we really, like, talk about it. Like, I do think that, like, when all is said and done, Baldur's Gate 3 will be in the public conscious and in memory, the game of the year. And I feel like with all of that, it's like, yeah, $70, not too much to ask for the experience that they created there. And again, when it comes to the Game Pass side of things, like we've had so many conversations about the value of games and like the revenue streams and making sure that like teams are making enough money to be able to support teams to make new games and not have layoffs. Like it's a whole cycle where money has to be coming in order for it to be going out, and going out means to people to make games, to make more stuff. And Game Pass is a very disruptive thing to happen to the industry in terms of revenue streams and how money is made, how money is like moved around, and it has to come from somewhere, it has to go somewhere else. So there is a world where Xbox goes and pays them a fuck ton of money to get it on Game Pass. That's where the money's coming from then. It's coming from Microsoft at that point. That didn't happen here. Baldur's Gate's going to do very, very well.
I think that's
sold this way.
And that's the thing is, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to do very, very well selling on Xbox. It's already been doing well selling on Steam and on PlayStation, right? It's going to continue to do well, and they're going to see enough money from that where I don't think they do not need the Game Pass. I think down the road, like 5 years from now, I can see Baldur's Gate 3 having GTA 5 was on Game Pass. Like I think this is a never say never thing.
I mean,
if you had asked me
5 years. I think 2 years.
Oh, I think 2. I think it depends on like, do they add in expansions? Like, do they like? I guess I know they just said it has a beginning, middle, and end, right? But like, how quickly does that curve drop off to where it is? All right, cool. Everybody's played Baldur's Gate 3. That's gonna buy Baldur's Gate 3. Let's have Xbox pay us a lump sum of money to put it on their service for 6 months to a year. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yep. And I think that is inevitable.
Yeah. And so that's inevitable. My other thing though is that like I'm surprised this is even a news story. Like they never really hinted toward this game being on Game Pass in the first place. And so the fact that it is like, hey, we're announcing this game is coming to Xbox. The fact that that's like not enough, right? People are like, oh, but it's on Game Pass. Let's see put it on Game Pass and all this stuff. I don't know if that comes from just like the standard that Xbox is set with Xbox Game Pass, where it feels like everything is coming to Game Pass, or if it's like from the court document leaks where Xbox like was estimating like, oh yeah, we'll pay $5 million or whatever to put it on game. I don't know where that comes from the audience.
I think it comes from the history of and the patterning of Xbox's strategy with Game Pass and the type of games that people expect to see on Game Pass, where for all intents and purposes, Baldur's Gate 3, while obviously like being this huge moment, it's a huge moment because it came out of nowhere. So because it came out of nowhere, it kind of feels like a Game Pass game. Like it feels like a genre that typically it isn't the most exciting thing to a mainstream audience. I think that now it's stupid to say that because I feel like now it's like the most exciting thing, but that's because of Baldur's Gate 3's quality release. You get what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like that type of intense RPG a couple months ago or a year ago is a very different conversation than where we're at now.
Yeah.
In the same way that I think something like Disco Elysium kind of like, it put people on to a genre that I would say wasn't like a first-person shooter or
For sure.
behind the shoulder.
I mean, it's like a Hades, right?
game.
Where Hades comes through as like
Exactly.
a top-down action roguelike game, and people play it and are like, oh, this is fucking incredible. Everybody needs to play this. And now fast forward to today, right? Like, I just got done talking about God of War Valhalla. Valhalla feels like it has so much Hades DNA in it, right? You look around at like the amount of games that are even on the AAA PlayStation first-party level are like, yeah, let's try to make a roguelite mode, right? Like Last of Us No Return is coming out as a roguelite, which again isn't me saying that like Hades invented roguelikes or anything like that, right? But I do think that ripple is felt because it is on the mainstream level. You see something that comes through and it ends up being a mainstream success, and you go, oh, okay, cool, we can emulate that and people will understand what it is and will probably enjoy it. It makes me wonder, like, with Baldur's Gate 3 now being out there and being, like the game of the year, you imagine overall, like it might be the game that wins the most game of the year awards. A few years down the line, I wonder if we start to see like a lot more CRPGs. Like I wonder if we see a renaissance that is caused by Larian.
I mean,
putting out these games.
I think that we might see more than we have. I don't think that they're going to be anywhere close to what they pulled off here is not just like, oh, they did a good game.
Yeah,
it's so much more than that.
It's definitely not the thing where everybody can go, oh, we should make a top-down CRPG that's going to be fucking 100 hours long, because that's even, for me as someone who's not a developer, I've had to venture to guess, probably harder to make than like to turn something into a roguelite, right? Like I can look at any action game and go, oh, I can start to see how you would formulate this as a roguelite. That you can't really do that with a big, gigantic RPG. But it does make me wonder if people are going to be more open to making that kind of game, right? Like, do we see even developers on the small, medium, or large scale go? I guess that's my question. Do we see a AAA large developer go, what if we made a CRPG?
I don't know, because I feel like there's just so much money required. It's this sounds so stupid to say, but Baldur's Gate 3 is only what it is because it is what it is, which is amazing performances, amazing writing, amazing gameplay based on Dungeons and Dragons. Like it's all just like this perfect storm.
It's also in an independent studio that has a lot of money, right? And that had a lot of time.
This is what they were doing. This is what they were making. It's like, and it has a beginning, middle, and end. There's no microtransactions. Like I feel like what makes Baldur's Gate 3 magic gets taken away the moment that a big AAA studio is making it, because then they're like, well, in order to justify doing this, we need to add microtransactions. We need to add this, and that. And I mean, there's no getting around that. And I don't even think that's necessarily like a wrong call, because it is a risk.
No, that makes sense. You know what else makes sense? You going over to patreon.com/KindaFunny so you can get shows like this ad free. And speaking of ads, let us tell you about our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. This time of year can be a lot. Having to figure out, am I getting a gift for this person? Am I not? Whether or not your family gives gifts during the holidays, you get to define how you give to yourself. And the holidays are a great time to do just that with therapy. You can get out of your negative thought cycles and find some mental and emotional peace, and it can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. Some of my best friends use BetterHelp and love how helpful it can be for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself, and it isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. Make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/KindaFunny today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/KindaFunny. BetterHelp.com/KindaFunny.
And we're back with story number 4. The first ever Mario 64 Luigi footage has seemingly been discovered via an old VHS tape. This is Andy Robinson at Video Games Chronicle. 26 years after its release, the first ever footage appearing to show an early Super Mario 64 multiplayer mode with Luigi has been discovered. The footage was spotted in a video quietly uploaded to YouTube last month, which contains rare VHS footage showing Nintendo's 1995 Japanese Space World show, where it showcased the N64 for the first time. A 1 second long snippet of footage appears to show off-screen gameplay of both Mario and Luigi in an early version of Super Mario 64. If authentic, it's the first documented time Luigi has been seen in the classic N64 game, outside of a high-profile 2020 leak of a classic Nintendo game files, which included a model for the character. Luigi was originally intended to appear as a second playable character in the launch game, according to a 1996 interview with the director Shigeru Miyamoto. Speaking via an official strategy guide, Miyamoto described a room made of simple Lego-like blocks in which Mario and Luigi could run around in there, climb slopes, jump around, etc. This seems to match the YouTube footage. Now, Tim, as a kid, Mario 64 was the first game I ever owned. It was Mario 64 and Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey.
Great.
But Mario 64 is the one I remember more.
Really?
Then Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey, yeah. Yeah. Even though I did play a lot of Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey, because in that game you can get into fights, like in the hockey field. It was the coolest thing ever. And I'll try to like make those fights happen. But it was random. Like you couldn't really just initiate them. You had to like chance it. Anyway, I always found it odd and weird that I knew this character Luigi existed, but he wasn't in the Mario game that I had.
That is so funny.
Yeah, because I was like, where's Luigi? Like, and I mean, I know like there's a whole meme of like, what, L is here or something.
L is for real.
L is
it's not
for
a
real.
meme. It's a reality, bless. We'll get into that in just a second.
But yeah, that was the whole thing for me where I'm like, I didn't say where the fuck because I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
But I'm like, where is Luigi? Like, this is a Mario game, right? I know this guy exists. Where is he?
How did you know he exists? That's very funny to me that Mario 64 was your first Mario game.
Yeah.
You're 5 years old. But you knew of Luigi?
Yeah, I think, I mean, what, it's just
Pop culture, just
pop
I guess,
culture,
in general?
yeah. Like, I must have, like, I mean, very shortly after Mario 64, like, I got Mario Kart, I got Mario Party. Like, I had, this was a thing that persisted over the years of me being a kid.
And you have older sisters, right?
Yeah, I had older sisters.
I guess
and they had played, like, they were already, like, Mario 3 people.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like, it's fascinating to see, allegedly, the first footage ever.
Yeah, I mean, first off, love seeing any old footage of like this era of games because it's rare. Like, you know, the E3s even were like, it's hard to get footage from those from back in the 90s because it was just a different time, obviously pre-internet, just like the way that the press conferences were even recorded, if they even were recorded. Like, it's funny to think back to all of our glory days of remembering E3s and like staying up and like watching the press conferences and getting excited. But for so many years, all that was either waiting for a magazine to come a month later, or for years after that, reading a blog post. Like, there was no video to watch. Like, maybe the next day there'd be like, you know, Fran would get some fucking off-screen footage uploaded on IGN, but otherwise it wasn't until like pretty late. Like, I want to say like 2012, maybe it must have been 2010, 2011. That we're actually like watching live streams of the press conferences. And even then, were they live streams or were they watching them the next day or whatever it was? So to see any of this stuff, I always think is really cool, especially for Mario 64, which is so near and dear to our hearts. And while it wasn't my first Mario game, it was definitely like probably the most important one to me at the time that I got it. And I remember that leading into a couple years later, getting onto the internet and all that, where I started like doing deep dives on AOL about trying to figure out more video game stuff and like just finding anything I could about Nintendo. And I remember the whole finding the L is for real 2401 thing. Have you looked into this?
I'm pretty sure I've like seen some meme breakdowns, but it's one of those things where I never cared enough for the L is for real stuff because like because it was based off of the sign in like the back area of the castle, right, where people were like, oh, it says L is
Boo's little thing.
And I never believed it.
If you could bring up the link I put at the bottom of this story here from Game Rant. It's just there's a plaque on the star like statue thing that like if you squint, you really look at it, try to make out what it says because it's N64 graphics, it's hard to look at. It says L is for real 2401 and people were convinced.
Bear, can you enhance? Is there a way because I never believed it because I'm like there's plenty of signs like this in Mario 64 and it was all gibberish, right?
Well, but it wasn't gibberish though. All the signs,
they actually say something.
They look like gibberish, but then when you clicked on it, it would then open up a prompt that told you what it said. This is like one of the few instances of writing in the game that didn't have that. And so people went down the rabbit hole of like, L is for real. L is Luigi. Luigi is real. He's in the game. And
I couldn't do it.
But it was during an era where it's like, you know, people were convinced of it. It's like, oh, Yoshi must be in this game. I guess motherfucker.
I mean, Yoshi was in the
goddamn game.
Right.
So it's like things like that, where people went off the deep end for it and whatever. But it's just very, very funny that like this exists. And then we see this this potential Luigi multiplayer thing. But then you even think about like it's fun to look at history the further you get to the future, which then becomes the present, because after Mario 64, which clearly didn't have a multiplayer mode, about 10 years later, just shy of that, we got Mario 64 DS, which had a multiplayer mode, and you could play as Luigi, and it was so funny seeing that game and being like, how much of this is just because the DS is coming out and has wireless multiplayer functionality and they're trying to push that stuff, and how much of this is features that they wanted to have back in the day but couldn't actually have.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't see how this gibberish looks like L is for real.
Listen,
It like there's
I'm
better.
with you,
The
Barrett.
first thing looks like maybe like an unpeeled banana symbol, and then it's like a K, and then like a lowercase r somewhere.
You got to enhance further, Barrett. You know.
I mean, hold
Can
on.
you click the enhance? I know you got an enhance button on that keyboard. There we go. There we go. There you go. Yeah, like I mean, I think Tim's probably googling like a
Yeah,
version.
I'm not even trying. I don't know, but
Barrett, before we got to this news story, during the break, you're like, I want to call bullshit on this story. I want to know what the bullshit was.
It just doesn't. It doesn't look like Luigi. I'm just gonna be real.
Like, bring it up.
I'm gonna be real here.
I love this.
that's the thing.
Wait, bring it up. This doesn't look like Luigi?
No, there's something about because it's an old VHS that's like recording this off of a TV. I don't. There's something.
You think the
about,
colors
like,
might be inverted or something?
I think the colors look fucked up, and then also it looks just like Mario's like
His model?
Model.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, that's all
I'm not
Luigi was back
convinced.
then, right?
I'm
Like,
not
wasn't Luigi
convinced.
just
No, Luigi was taller.
When did Luigi? I know it's a crazy question.
Yeah.
When did Luigi get tall? Was that Mario 2?
No, well, technically, yeah. I guess, yeah. It was
Okay.
Mario 2, but then after Mario 2, he wasn't, and then they had to change Mario World. He wasn't tall.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
But then they in Super Mario Advance 2, Super Mario World,
Yeah.
they made him tall.
Because I feel like at this point in history, there are more instances of Luigi literally just being a palette swap for Mario, as opposed to being the tall Luigi. Like I want to say Mario 2 was maybe one of the few instances, and then probably like the cartoon happened by this point. The cartoon must have happened because that cartoon was old as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And like was Luigi was taller.
He
than
was
that,
taller.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the problem. We were at a place where like what's so funny is those cartoons and stuff were kind of just an amalgamation of like just Mario in general.
Yeah.
Even though one of them was called Mario 3 and one of them was Mario World. But it's like the amount of Mario 2 shit in them was just abundant.
Yeah.
There was just so much of it. And so yeah, I mean, yeah, Luigi's been tall in canon, but in the games he wasn't. By this time though, he should have been tall.
I mean, no, that's green. Hold on. Go back to that first shot. Press play. No, that's Luigi.
Yeah,
that's Luigi.
that's
That
Luigi.
motherfucker's Luigi.
Call him bullshit.
It's in this shot right here that I think it's like obviously Luigi, not this one.
Yeah, this one's a bit like
The
more.
more
Like this one,
farther
like
away
the fact
shot.
that you can see, like pause it there.
yeah,
No,
like the
it's-
last
it's
frame.
so
The last
clear.
frame of that first.
Yeah, like even here is fine. Like having Mario on the left and Luigi on the right, like yeah, that's Luigi. This is a fucking blue dress, gold dress.
Insane.
And I need
Sam,
Chad to chill
I
the
love
fuck
you,
out.
though.
people.
I there were so many things like when you were, I call bullshit. I was like, what is he gonna say is bullshit about this? I didn't expect him to be questioning if it was Luigi. That is awesome.
I need Chad to chill out too because people are like, Bear. Okay, all right.
No, listen. I
I
understand where you're
Here's the
coming
thing,
from. Bear.
it's a fucking like
It's a
VHS recording of a TV, like a 4:3 fucking CRT TV feet away. And you're all going to be like, yes, that's definitively Luigi.
I hear where you're coming
without
from,
a
Barrett.
fucking shadow of a fucking doubt.
So,
chill
here's the thing.
fuck out, Chad.
I hear where you're coming from, but when you look at like you even go back to the shot where you see the 3 TVs. When you see this, we get a sense of the color space. And we can see all the other colors across the TVs.
This man said color space.
So it's like I think that like that is accurate. Like the green that we're seeing reads real. L
But I also get-
is
Also,
real.
let me have fun. Let me
2023.
question things and have fun.
my
okay?
thing,
Jesus.
my thing is where I can see where Bear's coming from too. Is just the fact that like we are degrees of separation removed of like yeah, it is like a fucking CRT and it is a video of a CRT and like it is a little bit of a blurry video of a CRT. And so I could see with like all of that happening, maybe the color
Y'all will see a
that we're
blurry
seeing.
image of Bigfoot and be like, yep, definitively, that's Bigfoot and he's real.
Listen, don't get me started on GTA San Andreas, where for a long time I was like, that motherfucker is Bigfoot. He is in that game. To this day, I believe Bigfoot is in that game. You can't tell me otherwise.
You can't
so
tell them otherwise.
Yes, Barrett. Story number 5. Hunter x Hunter is getting a fighting game. This is Chris Penwell at Destructoid. A Hunter x Hunter fighting game is officially in development, as announced by publisher Bushiroad at Jump Festa 2024. It's being worked on by DNF Duel and Tatsunoko versus Capcom developer Aiding. According to Gematsu, more details will be shared at Bushiroad New Year Grand Presentation 2024, which occurs on January 6th. The announcement was made at the. Why was that funny? I can't read that date anymore. I can't read that date anymore.
You can't start laughing, then look at me and ask why was that funny? Because I'm laughing at you laughing.
Oh, we gotta just take that day off. I don't know. We gotta like not do anything that day. Because every time I read that day, like it's yeah. The announcement was made at the publisher's booth in Jump Festa 2024 on Friday. No gameplay or even screenshots has been shown as of the time of writing. No platforms have been announced either. Bushiroad has games based on other anime properties, including Goblin Slayer, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and Shin-Chan. This Hunter x Hunter game seems to be the publisher's first fighting title on consoles, but it has released a mobile wrestling game in the past based on New Japan Wrestling.
Cool.
Tim, if this happens, I'm gonna be so happy.
Yeah?
Yeah. Hunter x Hunter is really dope. I of course have been watching a lot of Yu Yu Hakusho this weekend. The creator of Yu Yu Hakusho, same creator of Hunter x Hunter, and so there's like a lot of shared DNA there. But I fucking love Yu Yu Hakusho, and one of the things that hurts my heart is that Yu Yu Hakusho never got a good fighting game. Like it got fighting games, but they weren't that great. They never hit like Dragon Ball Z Budokai hit Tim. And that's the thing that breaks my heart because those characters would work so well in a fighting game. Hunter x Hunter is super popular. Like super popular. A lot of people fucking ride and die for Hunter x Hunter. The fear with a Hunter x Hunter fighting game would be that it is a 3D arena fighter. It being developed by Aiding and also it being like Aiding who's worked on Tatsunoko versus Capcom, which is fire. Like Tatsunoko versus Capcom was a really, really fun fighting game. And then DNF Duel, which is okay. Like I didn't love DNF Duel, but it's not bad, right?
I'd say Tatsunoko also. I don't know if I go fire, but it was fire. It was really good.
Yeah, it's fire if you have no idea what the fuck a Tatsunoko versus Capcom is, and you pick it up on the Wii and you start playing it, and you're like, oh, all right, cool, yeah. I see you.
Fair, very fair.
Which is how I played it. But yeah, no, this makes me excited. I could see. One of the things with DNF Duel for me is just that I had no connection to those characters, right? And like I thought the mechanics were fine, like but mainly it was a thing of they didn't have the carrot on the stick bringing me back.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, let me play as fucking Gon, right? Let me play as the roster of characters that they have in that show / anime / manga. Like that's enough to keep me coming back. Like those characters are awesome. I could see a lot of people like actually flocking to this thing, getting excited about it, and so I hope this works out. I hope they make it. I hope it's really good.
Hell yeah.
Final news story for you. Story number 6. Sea of Stars surpasses 4 million. This is from Sea of Stars on Twitter.
Woo!
Sea of Stars has been played by over 4 million people across all platforms and subscription catalogs in less than 4 months.
Fantastic, man. That is a huge number, and I always bring this up. This is an anecdote that blows my mind every single time I think about it. Chrono Trigger. One of the most iconic RPGs, one of the most iconic video games of all time, one of the most iconic Super Nintendo games specifically. Mm-hmm. And it only sold like a little over 1 million copies or something like that. For this game, obviously clearly inspired by that game, if not just that genre and time, to come out and be good and hit 4 million players in less than 4 months, utterly fantastic. I love this, especially from a team that clearly gives so many shits about the games it makes, and for this to be so dramatically different from their last game, I think is just incredibly impressive, where they pulled it off both times.
Would you believe that I booted up Chrono Trigger last night on my Steam Deck? Yeah, wow. I did.
You played through to the festival for the 100th time?
This is what no, I didn't even get like I barely got past the opening cutscene. And I was like, I started watching the opening cutscene, I was like, man, this game is beautiful. Like people are right, like this game is gorgeous. And then I was like, because I was playing on my Steam Deck, I was like, oh, certainly they have it on the Nintendo Switch. And so I turned off my Steam Deck, went over, got my Switch. Because the problem with the Steam Deck is that it's never charged. I forget who said this on like Twitter, but they're right. That I saw Janet maybe talking about this. My Steam Deck is never charged. That's part of the genius of the Switch that we don't talk about is the dock. Because you always put it back in the dock, which means it's always charged. So you never have to like fucking go through all this bullshit.
Get a dock for your Steam Deck, dude.
I do, but
Steam
like
dock.
It's not. I don't have it placed in like the like a convenient place for it to always be charging.
That's a you problem.
I ran out of plugs, dude. Like it's. We'll talk about it later. I grab my Switch. I go onto the Super Nintendo section of Nintendo Switch Online. I scroll through the games. There's no Chrono Trigger on there.
Yeah,
it's fucked up.
Money to be made.
What are we doing?
HD2D, baby.
HD2D, baby.
And so I didn't go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just called it a night.
Yeah.
How about this?
Went to sleep after that.
Instead of that, get back to Sea of Stars.
Here's the thing.
4,000,001.
I'm pretty sure
I'm technically part of that 4
Yeah, I was
million,
gonna say I'm counting that 4 million because I definitely.
I'm just saying, get
booted up.
back to it. Continue to be a part of the 4 million plus.
I saw a character on there that they were a portal ninja.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Dude, it's such a special game. I think you'd fucking dig it.
Chrono Trigger has a frog, and his
Trigger
name
does have a frog.
Like spelled FROG.
Mm-hmm.
Could have got more creative with that one. Could have got way more creative with that. I thought it was gonna be maybe like an FRAWG, like let's get crazy, or FROHG, like let's get crazy with it. They just called him Frog. Tim, me picking up Sea of Stars is so far away.
God damn it.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. But if I want to know what's coming out to mom and grab shops today, where would I look?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform is listed by the KindaFunny Games Daily Show host each and every week.
Yeah.
Out today, we got Terra Nil for Switch, The Engineer early access for PC.
How do you spell that?
ENJENIR. Good for y'all. And then Vampire Survivors Emergency Meeting, the Among Us themed DLC, is out today for PC, Xbox, and mobile. New dates for you. Metal Slug Tactics is officially delayed to 2024.
No way.
And then Armored Core. Who would have thunk?
That's crazy though. Like
really? Like why?
I mean, just
you thought it was still going to come out in 2023?
No,
we got a week left.
It's the type of thing where a week out, I just wouldn't expect this to ever. I would think the next time we hear about this game, like I'm just surprised they even officially delayed it. I guess that's what surprises me.
See, I'm surprised it wasn't already out.
There's that too. There's that too.
If
It
you
looks
asked me,
really
I would have
good,
been like,
though.
maybe it was out.
It looks real good.
No, I want to play this Metal Slug game. Like, can you bring up the trailer, Bear, just so I can relive? Because when we saw this thing get revealed, I forget where it was, but I remember being us.
Which one was this? Metal Slug.
Metal Slug Tactics.
Okay.
I remember all of us being like, "Yo, this looks fucking
Dude, it looks
sick."
awesome. Metal Slug's so good, man. The art style, the music, everything about it's dope. Turn it into a tactics game, very weird, very interesting. But we've seen success with that before. And there's something about this where it's a little bit more like small little cube-based areas that I'm like, this looks very cool.
It's the art style and it's the animation, right? Like in the trailer just now, we saw somebody like throw a thing, and like the amount of like I don't know, like the cool like smooth frames of him like throwing that shit. This thing's gonna sing. It's gonna be cool.
Oh yeah.
What did I download? Every now and then with my Switch, I get it like the craving to like just play a random game. Like a few weeks ago, I was like, you know what I haven't played that I'm in the mood for right now? Cadence of Hyrule. And so I went to my Switch and I downloaded Cadence of Hyrule, but by the time I downloaded, I was asleep. I was gone.
The game is like 100 megabytes.
I fall asleep very quickly.
The Switch does download very slowly.
Yeah,
though.
and the internet in my house is not great. So last night I had the same thing where I was like, oh, you know what? I want to play what game was it? It was was it like Just Shapes and Beats or something? It was something like along those lines. Dude, Just Shapes and Beats is sick.
Oh my god, it's incredible.
It might have been Sayonara Wild Heart. I forget what game it was, but yeah, I like went and downloaded it and was waiting for it to download, and I went to sleep. We got to figure out modern gaming, because I swear I feel like this happens not even half the time, most of the time, when it's like, oh, I want to play this game that I haven't played in 4 months or a few years, and it's always, oh, there's always an update. Like if I want to play Call of Duty, I got to download like 5 updates. If I want to play any game on the Switch, I got to let it download for 10 hours, 5 minutes. But still, like, it's.
Well, I mean, auto updates, isn't that the solution here?
But like, not everything auto updates. Like I feel like PlayStation only auto updates like whatever's on your homepage, like whatever's on your front screen. Everything else you got to boot up to like initiate the update. Am I wrong about that, chat? Let me know. KindaFunny.com/you're wrong.
I feel like you can manually go in and set games to auto update.
Yeah, but he's not thinking about 4 months from now what he's going to be in the mood for to have the foresight to turn that stuff on.
Yeah, like do I do that with every single game? Just go, hey, update every single time? Because I'll do that.
Because
I'll do it.
I will say I'm so with you. Like overall, like there's just so much modern game bullshit that I really don't like. Recently, I've been pleasantly surprised at how improved the experience of downloading a game and how quick I'm able to play that game. With it only installs like the part you need to start the game.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
and then I can actually play it and it works. Because I feel like even like 2 years ago, anytime I did that, it'd be like, cool, I get to boot the game up and be on the menu, but I can't actually start it. I can't actually do what I'm trying to do. And I feel like recently that's not been the case at all. It's just been like within minutes, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm playing this amazing brand new game. Like, how is this possible? I'm just downloading shit in the background.
Yeah.
I don't know. Shout out to Shout out to all of you.
Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon ranked matchmaking update launches December 19th. So if you're trying to play some multiplayer ranked matches,
We jumping back in, Blizz?
I thought about it. I was like,
Get that third ending. Get that third ending. You know you want to.
You're selling me the other day at work, and so maybe I will. Deal of the day for you: Ori and the Will of the Wisps is $9.89 on the U.S. eShop, and then Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition is $6.59 on the eShop. Both are also on Game Pass.
I've been speaking of like wanting to just go back to games that we really don't need to for no reason at all. I've been wanting to go back to Ori so bad on the Switch, specifically to play on the OLED. Because come on. I was like, I just don't need to, but I love those games so much. And the music's so good.
I just remembered it was Dead Cells. I wanted to play Dead. I had a craving for Dead Cells last night.
I mean, dude, the Dead Cells Castlevania stuff.
I know, and I haven't played it.
You should.
Because it was the thing where I remember exactly now what it was. Because I beaten Valhalla, and I was like, fuck, roguelites are so good. I really love roguelites. What roguelite should I play right now? And I was like, you know what? I haven't picked up Dead Cells in a minute. And I remember falling in love with Dead Cells. I've not played it since release. And so, yeah, I was like, well, maybe I should play the Castlevania thing. So that is now downloaded on my Switch.
Very similar. Dead Cells was the first roguelike that I was like, oh shit, I get it. Yeah. And I'm so damn in. And absolutely loved it and thought I would never really go back to it. The Castlevania stuff, I've just been playing throughout this year. Holy crap, man. It's so easy to get back in because the game's just that good.
Yeah.
And then you add Castlevania on top of it and like the music, like the vibe, everything about it is just like, oh, damn, man. This year might be, I think, the best year for DLC.
I can see. You know,
I don't even think that's an argument.
I don't even know if that's
the more
an
I start thinking about it, it's like, we got Final Fantasy, we got God of War, we got Cyberpunk,
you got Horizon Burning Shores,
we got Dead Cells, Castlevania.
You got some Hi-Fi Rush DLC there.
Yeah.
Was the Sifu stuff this year too?
Arenas, yeah.
Damn. Let's do a quick reader mail. This one is from Killian, who writes in the KindaFunny.com/KFGD, just like you can, and says, "Good morning, KFG crew. Recently, both Shinji Mikami and Hideki Kamiya did a live talk at the Archipel Caravan, which I highly recommend their channel, Archipel. I don't know if I'm saying that one right. Great documentaries with Japanese creators of all mediums. And while much of it was interesting and insightful, there are 3 things said that I feel will be headline worthy. Shinji Mikami has said he has no interest in working on the RE series again. Hideki Kamiya has said he wants to make a Beautiful Joe 3, and together they both would want to see a new Okami game. Do you think there's ever a chance in the future either could work with Capcom again, whether it's on something new or if they change their minds and work on their old series? Also, funny thing, neither mentioned Dino Crisis at all during this talk. I got a hot take about Dino Crisis.
What's your hot take about Dino Crisis?
People don't care about Dino Crisis.
Oh, it's not a hot. I mean, I'm with you, and I'm somebody that cares about Dino Crisis.
Yeah. That's the thing is, I'm like, I'm not hating on. I don't think I've ever even played Dino Crisis. I know there are people that like Dino Crisis and like would love to see Dino Crisis come back, but I don't think Shinji Mikami is sitting there thinking about like, man, we really dropped the ball not making more Dino Crisis. Like, I don't know if anybody at Capcom is thinking in that way.
How many Dino Crisis games are there? Numbered.
I'm gonna say 3.
Oh, okay. You got that right.
Listen, I'm tuned in.
When was the last Dino, or what console was the last Dino Crisis on?
PS2.
Xbox exclusive.
No way. Like the first Xbox? Damn, okay, I got the error right though.
Where did it take place on Earth?
This is a trick question. It wasn't on Earth.
Oh shit, you got it right.
Let's
you got it right.
Go!
Where did it take place?
I can't be stopped. Mars.
It was like a spaceship.
Oh, it was a spaceship?
Mm-hmm.
Like dinosaurs got onto the spaceship?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
How somebody dropped the ball there. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Should have closed that hatch. How the fucking the dinosaurs end up on the spaceship? That's crazy.
You have to play Dino Crisis to find out.
Damn. I mean, to the question, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I could see a scenario where Capcom's like, yeah, let's go back and partner with these esteemed creators that have their identity in Capcom. I don't think that's outside the question, right? Like, we just talked about how Hideki Kamiya parted ways with Platinum Games over what is essentially like creative differences, right? Like, he talked about how he wants to like, for him, it is the art of it. Like, he wants his games to like be a certain way, and like the way like he met with the higher ups there at Platinum, and they kind of just had different opinions on things, and so he just left to create his own thing. I could see a scenario where maybe like they like years pass, right? And like they reach out to Hideki and they're like, hey, we hear you. Like, we want to actually make things that like line up with what your vision is. I think that'll take a few things though. I think that might take Kamiya putting out a game on his own with his own studio, and it either being not great or fine, right? Like, I could see it being like okay, we put out a thing, but it's not the scope we wanted it to be. It's not the budget we wanted it to be, because turns out making games independently is really tough. And like, so if we had the budget of a Capcom, we could do something really spectacular. I could see it being a Capcom being like, hey, maybe even if it's not, we'll have you work with Platinum, we'll have you work with your own independent studio. We'll just give you the funds to be able to do so. I think that stuff is very possible. And so I would say never say never, even with the old IPs, right? Like, if he wants to make Beautiful Joe, I think eventually he'll probably make another Beautiful Joe.
Yeah.
It's time for You're Wrong, where you write in, let us know what we got wrong, as we got it wrong, so we can correct it for those watching later on YouTube and listening later on podcast services around the globe. A Canadian writes in and says, when talking about Wayne Gretzky hockey, Bless said hockey field. It's a rink.
I didn't want to say anything.
I appreciate that.
I didn't catch it.
I didn't catch it either. Like, that's so I like, but I can see myself saying that, and so yeah, I apologize to Canadians. I mean, Nolan here says this is not Luigi on the VHS tape. It's actually Waluigi. Okay, that's not. This person's fucking around. Get out of here.
Barrett's just clapping.
That's a brave person out there speaking the truth. Luigi,
That was not real.
Saying it.
That's it for KindaFunny.com/you're wrong. This week's host for Kinda Funny Games Daily go like this. Tomorrow, you're getting Greg and me. Wednesday, you're getting me and Tim. Thursday, you're getting me and Andy. Then on Friday, you're getting Greg and special guest Tim fucking Geddes.
Wow.
Get hyped for that. You know, who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Of course, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday live right here on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames and twitch.tv/KindaFunnyGames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. Until next time, Game Daily. And now it's time for the post show.
Andy Cortez coming to the stage.
With a
Everybody
Celsius.
make some noise. Woo! With the what?
Celsius.
Celsius.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. Andy Cortez drops new fucking energy drinks like Ramona changes her hair and Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, this is no.
See, I was going to say like Logic drops albums.
Andy's been sticking with the Celsius for a while at this point.
Wow.
Ooh, there's a smell to that smoke, that last smoke that came out the machine.
Was it like kind of sweet?
No, yeah, it does. You're right.
Yeah.
Or like burning or sweet?
Sweet.
Burning.
Both?
Sweet fire. Cinnamon.
What's the word? What's going on?
With Celsius?
What fucking esports group sells this shit?
No. Celsius has been around for a while. But I also see it in a lot of podcast clips on TikTok. I'm like, hey, help us out.
Mm-hmm.
Celsius.
Sell me some Celsius.
Sell me some Celsius. Welcome in for the Super Chat Primetime Post Show. First off, Delaney Twining over on the YouTube side, Tim, gifted 20 YouTube memberships.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A legend.
To
The
Delaney
Patreon
Twining.
producer legend.
The Sheep Whisper, 59 months of Prime. A lot of Primes here I'm seeing. A lot of people home for the holidays. A lot of people getting their uncle and aunt's Prime subscriptions. Rezar Fella, 31 months of Prime Gaming. DG Mayer, 15 months, says happy holidays, KF fam. Luke the Awesome, Deezy, Kid
Nuts.
Keezy, I Jinx. Thanks for all of y'all's Prime. The Singer Bro dropped a little question mark with 29 months. What's got you curious? Singer Bro, thank you for your 29 months. Striga, 13 months of Prime. We got Fetty Waffle with 35 months. Says, thanks for getting me through a hard day. Love you guys and happy holidays. What are y'all's thoughts on Godzilla -1?
I've still not seen it.
Andy Cortez. I mean, everyone's heard my thoughts. You saw it with me for my second time. What are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I talked about it on the last Kinda Funny Primetime Super Chat Post Show on Friday, I believe. It rules. It kicks so much ass. It is, as somebody who isn't like the type that needs to go see every new Godzilla movie, I'm not that dude. I thought it was amazing.
I have 3 movies left this year that I really want to see. It is Godzilla -1. It is American Fiction and Iron Claw. Those are the 3 movies I need to see for the remainder of the year, and then
I've never heard of American Fiction.
It stars Jeffrey Wright. He is a writer that I forget the entire premise, but I think like the whole thing is like he like kind of like acts like hood, like a gangster in order to sell books to actually get people to read them. And so like it's like a social.
How do I
slash,
reach
like,
these kids?
Yeah,
Sort of thing.
social commentary / comedy / drama.
Sigma snaps 18 months of tier 1. I think I may be the first non-primer today. Thank you, Sigma snaps. Wampa Slayer 35 months and every Shoujo 33 months, all using their primes. C Porky 45 months says 3.75 years. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
An interesting way to, yeah. DC Sports Fan 2490, 74 months using Prime. We got a question here from AJ Hawk with a $5 super chat. Should roguelike modes fill the long times between installments of games? Take the assets they have and hit randomize. Oversimplification, obviously.
No.
I think there's a way to utilize the genre to like extend like people's time with games. Like I think Valhalla is a good example of, yeah, like I put an extra like 8 hours into God of War Ragnarok, and if they found even more like variables or like more like stuff to extend it, I probably would have put in maybe another like 20 hours into it, right? If it kept going. I think the thing is you like it isn't just making a roguelike, you have to make a good roguelike, and like that is a difficult thing to do. One of the reasons why I think Valhalla works is that they take a lot of cues and a lot of inspiration from Hades, right? It is a lot of narrative that is woven in. It is the dialogue that you get with Kratos and Mimir as you're like going from room to room, and there's so much TLC put into it that it doesn't feel like a quick like, oh, let's just throw it in there so people can keep playing, right? Like it feels like a meaningful thing. I think you got to treat it like that, and I don't know if it's a like I don't know if it's sustainable to like always put those things out for free, right? Like obviously for Sony Santa Monica, it feels like a hey, like let's put this thing out for the fans because you know like we had this idea and like it's a thank you for playing our game and for supporting us and all that stuff. I could see a scenario though where if Valhalla was a little bit more meaty, I think you charge $30 for it and put it out as like almost an expand alone. And I think that could be a curious place to play around with is like, can we make these full games that are worthwhile, but then also, yeah, like charge for them and have that be the thing of, you know, it's not every 5 years you're getting a God of War. It is like, all right, here's the main thing. Now here's the expand alone. That's a different genre.
I don't understand this game not being free. I haven't played yet, but from everything I've seen and everything everyone's talking about, how the hell was this free? Like you said, like, oh, it's a thank you for playing our game. What? In what world?
Yeah, you put out like silly costumes.
Yeah.
For a thank you, but yeah, I'm still.
The last time I feel like we got something like that, and granted, this was on an even different scale, was The Witcher 3 like updated content and stuff.
Well, like
and all the freebies that you got like for pre-ordering the game.
I'll even put Ghost of Tsushima Legends in there as well. Like I think that's like an underrated and understated. Like how is this? Like that doubled my time in Ghost of Tsushima. I put in a lot of hours into Legends. I think it's that tough thing of I could see the case of either Legends or Valhalla if it was, hey, we're putting this out as a paid, like as let's say as an expand alone. I could see people digging it because they go, oh, it's a reskin of assets, or oh, you're reusing this stuff. Oh, it's not like
expand alone.
Expand alone, yeah, like an expand, like a Miles Morales.
Your standalone expansion.
You join in the words.
Expand alone, yeah.
That's in you like.
That's been around for a while. I think with like Miles Morales, yeah.
Expansion standalone.
Yeah, expand
Uncharted
Lost
Legacy.
Yeah. But yeah, I could see people dinging it because maybe it is only like 8 hours or so, right? But I think for DLC, they could have easily charged for it. Like it could easily be like a
if you're a bad gamer like me,
thing.
it's like 15 hours.
Yeah, dude, Returnal took me like fucking 30 hours. That game is like fucking 15 hours long.
Yeah, it's a very, very great experience. I've been having a lot of fun with it. CJ Splits on $2 super chat. Is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth frontrunner for Game of the Year 2024? Whoa. A little too early for that. See, we're doing the sports show already. We're like the Super Bowl ends are like who the favorites for next year.
Yeah.
But is it Tim?
I mean, I think in the dumbest way possible by default, I think yes, just because of how close it is and how high quality it looks and the expectations of it. Whereas like we just don't know too much about next year yet in a way that I don't think that there's people have played this game. People have seen this game. You know what I mean? It's like that. I think alone puts it in a
right
different
now
category.
where we're at. It's like Final Fantasy VII to the front runner, and then like. Persona 3 Reloads like another front.
I'm putting up Metaphor Refantasio in that conversation. I think that's going to surprise people. So
yeah, it's Final Fantasy.
That and then also, well, another one I'll put up there, right? Like if the Switch 2 comes out next fall, Switch 2 is going to have a banger launch title. Probably a 3D Mario.
I mean, that's the thing is like currently, I think Rebirth's the front runner. That I do think is going to change. I do not think that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to end up being Game of the Year.
Let's not forget Skull and Bones also,
and Suicide Squad,
and Suicide Squad, and Concord.
I had somebody hop into my chat and be like, "Hey, do you want a code for Suicide or for the
Hellblade
for the Skull and Bones thing?" I was like, "Oh my god, I forgot that they were doing like that open beta, and you can pay extra to get it 3 days early, Tim."
I will say I think Hellblade has a possibly a higher chance than Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think that's also going to surprise. Like, people are looking forward to it, but I think at the same time, it's also going to surprise people.
Beyond Legendary Night, resubscribing for 21 months. We got Mocha Shona, 76 months of Prime Gaming. Thank you, Mocha Shona. TJ Perry with a $5 super chat. Speaking of anime, which anime would you love to see as a game? For me, Zoids is a no-brainer. Damn, Zoids kind of changed my life, the trajectory of my life.
Yeah.
It's like robot.
Not surprised.
Cool robots and cool cell shading, you know what I mean?
Pokemon.
True.
Yeah.
That's a good
No,
call.
I mean, I guess Yu Hakusho. I mentioned it earlier, but I think that I would kill for that game.
Cowboy
Ooh.
Bebop.
Code Geass.
Well, there are Code Geass games.
Oh, are there?
And there are some that are pretty cool, like they're tactical games, which totally makes sense for that. It's just it's a genre you don't necessarily want to play.
Yeah.
But like it's kind of brilliant and perfect for what that is.
That makes sense.
I think there was one on the DS, if I remember correctly. Yeah, like those are all my answers.
See, how would you make a Death Note game?
Not well.
I think you would make it a Walking Dead Telltale type thing.
Let this person live. Let this person die.
Yeah. I like that.
Like
It would
choose
have
your
to
own
be-
adventure.
I don't know. The beauty of Death Note is how high quality the story is. I feel like given choice in that, it's not going to be that good.
Yeah.
Barrett popped up because he wants to say something.
No, I was just talking about.
What do you want to say?
Uh,
My Hero?
My Hero
Great
Battle
character.
Royale.
no, we've got plenty of My Hero games that are all very whatever.
Cool.
I just popped up to talk about Death Note.
I finished episode 5 of Blue Eyed Samurai last night.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I've still only seen one.
It's fucking.
I've seen 3, 4.
Episode 5 is like, that's the one that you put down on the like, oh, that's the episode of that. That's the best episode of that show.
Yeah.
And one of the best episodes of the
Ooh.
year. But the rest of the show is amazing. Craven with a $5 super chat says, I swear I was riding a motorcycle in the woods in San Andreas and Bigfoot knocked me off my bike out of nowhere. Only time I swear I saw him.
I believe it. I believe
Oh
it.
man,
Plus is all in, man.
not real in GTA. Luigi, not real.
The chase is back on.
They're not real.
So funny.
The chase is like the belief I had as a kid that Bigfoot was in that game. That might have like doubled my enjoyment of San Andreas. Because it was at any moment I'll just be in the woods being like, where is this motherfucker? Where is he gonna pop up? I know he's here. I know you're here, Bigfoot.
I know what you mean. When Rockstar puts that shit in their games, it just feels like an extra, like there's an extra element out there
Yeah.
that I am not aware of.
Like
and it's
GTA
really
5
cool.
had aliens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like that was a cool thing. Like, and that kind of felt like an homage to the whole Bigfoot thing. And so I don't know, man. I think
Did
it's
it
in there.
though? I remember
have aliens?
I don't remember where that all ended. I remember
Yeah.
it being like the most interesting, like, yo, what the fuck are they doing? Like,
I
what's
think
at the
you could,
top of
like,
the mountain?
Like some copy pasta type
There
shit.
were like UFOs, but I don't know if we ever actually saw like an alien.
I could have
Creepy
sworn you
pasta.
saw like an alien like frozen in like a thing.
You do see aliens.
Well, there are aliens in like the story sequence where Michael is like on a drug trip. But,
Yeah.
I know where y'all are talking about. Of, like we were going up in the mountains. There's like these weird like texts and shit like that. Yeah.
I remember it being a letdown where it just felt like so much buildup that like eventually someone was going to find a code that turned into this thing and it just never happened.
But I think wasn't there like an alien gun that people got? Unless I'm thinking of some online like GTA Online bullshit. Also, shout out to Blade of Judgment in chat who says, please, this isn't some schoolyard during break and we aren't 10-year-old stupid kids. Damn.
Lies.
Jesus.
Let us have fun, dude. Jesus. Give us your prime. The Floofy boy with 14 months of Prime Gaming says, Tim sure just makes me think of, okay, the now Kith meme. Yeah, I thought the same thing. We got Cadgart with 2 months of Tier 1 subscription. Tim, I saw G1 yesterday. Wow. And bless, if you're into TMNT, Limited Run Games has Turtles in Time. Vinyl right now, and that OST is dope. Also, being a Sonic fan, Sonic Mania on vinyl is sick.
Ooh, now we're talking. A Sonic Mania vinyl would be sick.
I have it.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I might have to pull a heist.
Dennis 907, 37 months of Tier 1 love says, how does Tim not know what a Celsius is? LOL. Pretty good, because he's probably just healthier.
That's not it. That's not it. I'm just not an energy guy. I'm a coffee guy.
Yeah, you're a coffee dude. But I've had Celsius, like, legitimately for, like, probably a year. I've been getting, every once in a while, I get a little Celsius.
Never seen that motherfucker in my
And they're
life.
supposed to be, like, the healthier one that, like, if you're working out, you drink this, and it's, like, the cleaner version of it, but it's all bad for you. Ben Loblik.
Guarine.
Huh?
Guarine.
Guarine. And, let me read one more. Sucralose, like that can't be good for you. Beta carotene, shit, I'm an alpha carotene dude. Ben Loblik, 4 months of a YouTube membership says, "What's your guys' thoughts on Florida Joker wanting $2 million from Rockstar? Maybe Arthur Morgan's reactions. Arthur Morgan's reactions were phenomenal,
Oh, I
by
didn't
the
see
way.
the Arthur Morgan one.
The I'm blanking on the voice actor's name.
Franklin.
No.
Michael decided.
No, but
Trevor.
it's the video of the guy with all his
Roger Clark.
tattoos. Roger Clark, thank you. Going, Rockstar, we need to have a talk. And then it cutting to Roger Clark and being like, no, you don't. You're not going to talk. Trust me, they've lawyered up in every single scenario they possibly can. You're not going to last a single minute in court. Don't do it. He was like, no, you're not. Like, don't try to pick this fight. This is stupid of you. It was a very cool little TikTok.
I mean, parody covers that like very easily. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Snug Slacks, 31 months. Ooh, says, thanks for the Prime reminder. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Snug Slacks. Thank you for using your Prime on us here at KindaFunny.
Remember this holiday season. Take action.
What would
Start
Jesus
hacking.
do? What would Jesus do? Is what I always say. Like, when you have your Prime sub, Jesus sets his fucking notifications, right? So does the devil. Those are good
Don't
things
you
that
forget.
all deities do, you know what I mean? Speaking of which, man,
Jeez.
20 years since Return of the King came out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Just
Thought
and
about
capping
you.
the best movie trilogy of all time, like without question. So
Andy
unbelievable.
Cortez,
What's up?
would you believe that this weekend I was at a 2-year-old's birthday party? And
No, I would not
Why?
believe that.
and there were
Didn't know who it was.
there was a room
Scratched
in addition to 2-year-olds, which there were so fucking many of them. I swear to God, they were multiplying by the minute, man. It was crazy. In addition to
In that scenario where you're like, how many could I take on before?
Andy, more than once it crossed my mind.
If all went to shit, if they were infected by some alien bug, you know, how many could I take on?
in them.
There were, dude, some of these. I'm going to stop talking.
Okay.
I get offensive real fast. But there was also, it's surprisingly with a group of kids, that means there's a group of adults normally, right? So I'm in a room full of like, I don't know, 20 plus adults. We're having conversations about a bunch of different things. And I don't remember exactly how we got here. But at some point, I'm like, it's like Lord of the Rings came up. Somehow I still can't escape this. It wasn't Lord of the Rings versus fucking Clerks, but it was Lord of the Rings versus Star Wars. That's what it was. A debate going on, and I was like, I'm staying the fuck out of this. This is the dumbest thing I've ever fucking
I was
heard.
gonna say, you're hanging out with some normies. That's a normie ass debate.
Like 100%, dude. And so I walk in and I'm just like, oh, did you know that someone dropped some fact about Star Wars? And I was like, did you know that when Aragorn kicks the thing, he actually like broke his foot, whatever. The crowd erupts. Oh,
No way.
nobody fucking knew.
Oh, they're not normies.
nobody.
These aren't
Nobody knew.
normies.
Nobody fucking knew.
crazy.
And I was just like,
I'm the coolest movie fact guy ever.
somebody like looked at me and like I forgot the way they acted about it.
What
but,
else
like,
do you know, traveler?
No, straight up. And I was just like, guys, I can't explain to you how much of a joke I just made.
Yeah.
And I can't even deal with the fact that I'm the joke right now.
Yeah.
I am the joke that I am just way too online that like I just thought that there's no way I'm gonna
Everybody
say
knows this joke.
and people are gonna like I roll at me
Yeah.
fucking making a dad joke.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Andy, they're on the level of normies that like we don't even hear about anymore.
Yeah. They're too normal.
That's crazy to me. Yeah, because that's the inside joke. That meme of the kid who's like, his face is red because he wants to talk, and it's like, whenever you get to the scene when Aragorn kicks the helmet and you want to like bring it up, but you know that like everybody knows that fact already.
That's so funny.
When are you gonna watch Lord of the Rings, plus?
Never. You can't make me.
No, never knew. Oh, and the reason we're talking about it is
What if I said ask, please?
my friends had just came back from their honeymoon, and they went to New Zealand, and they did the whole Lord of the Rings tour thing, and they had just watched all 3 of the extended cuts. And one of these people, one of their favorite movies of all time, like the wife of the situation, she loves Lord of the Rings, loves the books, loves the movies. She didn't know this, and I'm like, man.
You got to hit her with the rest of the facts, bro. Like,
It's just weird.
Sean Bean didn't like. Sean Bean would climb up the mountains where they were gonna go film stuff. He didn't like riding the helicopter. He was scared of helicopters.
Wow.
Another cool little fact.
I mean, I didn't know that.
Crazy.
Maybe
What
I'm
a
annoyed.
fucking trilogy.
I would have been in there like, yo, let's talk about Trails of Cold Steel versus Persona. Let's have a real conversation.
Delaney Twining. Thank you once again for getting all those subscriptions and memberships earlier on YouTube. And you became a member again for 14 months. And you said, happy holidays, Trogs. Have a good holiday and be good to everyone. KindaFunny is the best. And I hope KindaFunny fam and Trogs have a good year. Thank you, Delaney.
Thank you. Very nice.
You as well. Thank you for all of your support and the kind words. We got Kuma Babam. $5 super chat. Hey, Blessing, I saw your vinyl player last night on IG stories. My question is, do you recommend the Sound Burger? Thoughts and expressions on it? Impressions?
I am definitely not a record player connoisseur, but I do like it as a novelty thing, right? Like if you're looking for sound quality, if you're looking for like the latest and greatest thing, no. But if you're looking for something that is, oh yeah, like it's a fun little it's fun aesthetically. Bear, I don't know if you have access to like play my Instagram story because I'll show people what we're talking about.
What's it called? I can just show the record.
It's called the Sound Burger. It's by what was it? Audio Technica.
I will say, like, I will judge you for the rest of time for getting a Bluetooth record player.
Yeah. Well, I wanted it because, one, I didn't feel like investing in a full record player because I don't have the space. But then also, yeah, like, I like the novelty of it being this thing that I can, like, take places. So, like, I can take it in, like, a small Bluetooth speaker and just, like, play records places, which I think is a fun little thing. And I just like how it looks. And so...
Soundburger sounds like something that somebody Mike's been subscribing to for like 2 years and like doesn't know how to cancel.
Got 4 accounts.
He's like, I just want to listen to
I don't know the email slappy. I don't know. We'll move on while Barrett's looking for that photo. Mad Rocks with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Mad Rock. Says, I don't know if it ever got answered for you, Barrett, but music for the Guilty Gear series is made by the creator, producer, and character designer Daisuke Ishiwatari. The vocalist is Naoki Hashimoto.
I don't know if I ever asked that question, but thank you.
There it is.
I think that one of my top 3, debatably number 1 favorite video game song of all time is from Guilty Gear.
Really?
Yeah. Shit is insane. The most epic shit ever.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Orchestras, guitars, going way too hard.
The Guilty Gear Strive soundtrack is like, it gets me hype every single time I play that game. Like, it's fucking sick. Yeah, Barrett has pulled up a video of the Audio Technica Soundburger.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The one I have is yellow. Oh, he's playing Super Mario Land.
Oh, wow.
A man after your own heart.
Yeah, man, this is exactly what I was doing last
thing
night.
about this video game.
Yeah. But yeah, mine is yellow. And yeah, like it works pretty seamlessly. Yeah, I don't know. I really like it.
This is awesome looking.
Yeah.
This looks like if, oh gosh, not 8-Bit Joe, Tim, but who make the handhelds? The Game Boy.
Analog.
Yeah, this feels like a product that Analog would be involved in. I just love the modern kind of vibes looking.
Joseph Medina says, are you talking about Holy Orders, Tim? Yes, I am. Holy Orders is the song.
Yeah, and again, if you're looking for like, you know, the best audio quality and you're looking for like, you're that kind of person, that I would say no, like this isn't the thing to go to. But if you just like novelty, like that's my thing is I got this from the novelty. I got this because I already own records. Like I have like probably 6 or 7 records that I own that have been gifted to me for the most part, and I've not had a way to play them. And so this is my way of being like, oh, okay, I can actually play them now, and like, you know, kind of just have this as a thing. I'm more so into the aesthetic of it than even like the thing, but I also like just the experience of playing the records, and so yeah.
Tin 54, 29 months total using your Prime on us. That's 6 months in a row. Another month. Any of you guys have a tradition for the holidays? Anything that isn't really normal for a holiday gathering? Love everything you guys have been doing. Can't wait for 2024. I got nothing. All pretty standard shit. You have a lunch, like Mexicans, we all know we do the fucking Christmas Eve opening gifts. We never do it on Christmas Day. And Christmas Day is just like a kind of lunch-ish or like 2 p.m. kind of vibe. You eat turkey, mashed potatoes, all that fun stuff, and then you watch a lot of football.
We have a tradition that we get live crabs, and then we eat them.
Oh, that's cool.
But normally
Are they like fighting for their lives as you're doing it?
Yeah, they are.
Screaming.
They do scream.
Yeah.
They do scream.
Jesus.
It's a lot to take in. I don't take part in it. I sit as far away from it as possible because I'm uncomfortable with it because I am a child. But a tradition that might become a new one for us that we did this week to celebrate Christmas with Gia's family, we ended up going to a magic show. And I'll talk about this more on the KF podcast. But I think I might need to have a group kind of funny trip because my life has been expanded, you guys.
The mind freak. Tim Geddes.
I love magic so much.
Fun fact for you, Tim: the sound that crabs make, or lobsters or whatever, when you put them in, that's not them actually screaming. That's like air leaving
Like a
their
fart?
body. It's something
Crab fart?
weird like that. Yeah, a weird body fart.
When
while
you
you're
say it like
boiling
that,
them alive.
now I'm into
Body
it.
fart. Yeah, I don't have anything weird, but me and my cousins do a Secret Santa. And like, that's about it. I always put on. I always start listening to the Chance the Rapper Christmas album around this time, so there's that too.
I'm usually just thinking like, man, I don't get shit for Christmas anymore.
Same.
And it's been like that
honestly.
for like over a decade.
Yeah.
But like, god damn, when I was like 6 and 7, getting all sorts of cool toys and The Lost World on PC and fucking NCAA Game Breaker 98, I'd be like, damn, dog, I'm getting all the video games, and now I
Andy,
don't
you
get a
want me to
goddamn
you
fucking thing.
You want me to get you a cool toy for when you come back
I
home?
probably already have it, but maybe it's like because I got another one. I got a new one in that came in. I got the Homelander Nindoroid. Looks very, very cool.
Don't tell my family, but I got my Secret Santa gift in the mail already because they just already sent it, and I saw the things at Secret Santa, and I was like, well, we're gonna do the Zoom call like on Christmas, and I'm not gonna be in town. Like I'm going to Houston to visit my sister, and so I'm like, I'm not gonna bring the gifts there. So I'm like, I might as well just open them now. And so for Christmas, I got a little tile. Like the things to help you like find your keys.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like if you lose your key, like this little thing.
Yeah, like an air tag sort of thing. or
Yeah, and
whatever,
if I double click it, it'll make my phone ring in case I'm looking for my phone. So I got that, and then also I got a little like electric lighter so I can light my candles. I'm also a candle guy now.
Good.
I don't know if
Good.
you do that.
He's such a guy.
Yeah.
So talented. This
They have
blessing.
a lot of different dimensions.
Remember that anime when he got a boo boo on his head?
Dude, blessing. I have told so many goddamn people this fucking story the last weekend.
It's a violent game. They get boo boos on their heads.
This is called Yu Hakusho. It's a masterpiece. God damn it! You're kicking people's asses.
Let's read a couple more. We got Nabishin. Thank you, Brian, for $2 super chat. Says Tim, how did you dent your MacBook? I think that's a reflection.
It's just
from the light. Yeah.
This comes up once a week.
Yeah.
Carlos Arias with a $5 super chat says, shout out to Tim's haircut. Thank you. Sid X, 80 months says, what is one hidden gem you think more people should check out? I've been saying a million goddamn times, RoboQuest. Played more over the weekend with Ray Narvaez co-op. Holy shit. It was so good.
I booted it up.
Yeah?
Yeah, just play the tutorial. I haven't played more.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Oh,
Also, Planet of Lana. I don't feel like enough people talked about that. People should check
Lana
that out.
Rhodes.
I feel like Disney's Illusion Island is my answer for this year. It's so good.
Tren, the Dreams game that Media Molecule made, just like a little toy train puzzle game. Highly recommend it. It's very fun.
Dear Sixlet with a $5 super chat. After Sonic, Mario, Last of Us, Twisted Metal, what new great gaming adaptation do you want to see announced in 2024? I hope for a kind of funny anime adaptation. What the fuck is he doing? Does he know anybody's looking at him?
One of the more bizarre Greg Miller entrances into the studio. I want to say half-assed opening of the door and a half laugh, like a half cackle.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
a Joker
And not
laugh.
looking at us, but looking at the ground,
It's normally
smiling.
followed up with a bit more like volume.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't know what he's
But,
doing.
Yeah.
I don't know what
I
the
think
hell
he's
he's
over here
up to.
vibing.
Oh,
whispering now.
he has his microphone on.
Just
They
talking
can't
bad.
hear you, Greg. They
This
can't-
looks like
they
the
can see
hidden
you,
camera
though.
footage of like a murderer is in the building and recorded himself. Let me try to get through these super chats.
What was
Just
the question that was just asked?
uh, j-
I don't
um,
think any of us answered.
a kind of Kingdom Hearts anime adaptation, like adaptations for games.
Oh, what animation or what adaptations? That's the next question. I'll think about it.
Kingdom Hearts would be amazing. I would really love to see that.
Prey, like Bethesda's Prey. I think that'd be cool.
Ooh.
I want to see Pokemon just done, man. Just do it. Just give me a real Pokemon in the world of Detective Pikachu.
Oh, like a
But,
live action.
But just do the thing.
Yeah,
Live
that'd be
action,
sick.
looking like Detective Pikachu, but give me the badges.
Stardew Demon 20 months says your favorite band or artist this year. I don't really listen
This
to
year,
music anymore.
I'm not going to say favorite, but I will say like my most listened to artist that I listened to more this year than I have any other year. If that makes sense. Is Sabrina Carpenter.
Hell yeah.
And
Let's
that has
fucking
only
go.
tripled down with the Christmas EP.
Dude, the Christmas EP is so goddamn good.
She's just such a naughty girl.
She is. Oh, man. We got to lock you up.
I want to shout out, I've been talking about them a lot lately, but Hot Mulligan, they came out with an album earlier this year. And they kick ass.
What's he doing? He's still doing stuff. Jack Strip gifted out a Prime Gaming.
I want to shout out Sampa also. Sampa is probably my answer.
Hard to find. 13 months membership says, Andy, you handsome devil. This is another friendly request for you to watch The Green Knight. Please watch The Green Knight. Love you. Oh, man. Yeah, that's right. Green Knight always has looked cool. And you like that.
I love it.
You like.
Blessed did it.
I hated it.
Deadwood, 69 months of resubscription. Brandon, 72 months of resubscription. Flying Penguins, $2 super chat. Did Andy play the day before? If so, is he sorry? No, I did not. Johnny, $2 super chat. Tim is a Fast fan. Have you watched Redline?
I did. I watched Redline when it first came out. Sick as hell.
And the final one,
Anime
King
movie.
Robla, 45 months. 45 months, bless. Don't forget how Sean Astin, or 45 months babes is what you said. My bad. Don't forget how Sean Astin got airlifted out after stepping on a massive shard of glass while running for the boat. Lord of the Rings facts. Best trilogy of all time. Thank you so much
Foot
for
injuries.
Thank you so much for all of your super chats and Prime resubscriptions. We will be right back with a little VR segment hosted by the psycho man
out
that's
of focus we are.
underneath the jib right now. The man is just standing underneath the jib looking right.
This is one of the more bizarre Greg Miller things ever because it's just like
the jib won't go low enough, but you see
there
some
he is.
movement there.
You see his head there a little bit.
You see some movement right here. Goodbye, everybody.